Hey guys, Civilord here, back in another action figure review. Today we'll be taking a look at the Masters of the Universe Origins Cartoon Collection 2000X Tri-Klops. Brought to us by the fine folks over at Mattel. Tri-Klops is the Masters of the Universe character I most associate with because his eyes are jacked up. He requires special glasses, kind of like me. Back when I used to use glasses, that is. Not so much anymore. They don't help as much as they used to. Cue the small violin here, but at any rate, we're not talking about my life story. We're talking about Tri-Klops. And the fact that, yeah, he doesn't come with a Doomseeker. Cry me a river. Heard it a million times. I have the original 2000X Doomseeker, so I'm good in that regard, but yeah, it would have been nice to have it. Especially since we got a bunch of useless junk with the Filmation line. But at any rate, talking about accessories he does have, or accessory, is his trusty sword. That said, there is nowhere to store it on his back here, but I don't know if he ever had a place to store it on his back. If he did, yeah, he should have it, but I don't think this is a Skeletor situation where he had somewhere to put that. That said, if you wanted to, I guess you could maybe finagle it here. I mean, that's one way to do it. Looks freaking stupid, but hey, I MacGyvered something on the spot. What do you expect for free? That said, he does have his trusty visor, which you can rotate. Have that eye. That eye, or we can put it back to where it was. Personally, I prefer the orangish / reddish eye, but my original 2000X Tri-Klops does have all those colors there. And I do like the little tube collar he's got going on. His little shoulder pads. He doesn't have the little flared up bits like OG Tri-Klops, but that's fine. He's not supposed to have those. He's got these weird little, I don't know what these are. I thought his knee pads were like connected to his boots and went up his leg, kind of like Skeletor and Evil Lyn. He's got weird little cyst knee pads on his knees that aren't connected to anything. They're just weird little things sitting on him. So I'm thinking those are like embedded into his body and he's like a cyborg. Which would make sense. He's got the robotic eye thing going on. This is clearly a wire, so this is hooked up to something. Like, how does this guy shower? Does he take this off? I'm starting to think no, but I'm going to try not to think about it too hard. That said, as far as articulation goes, his head can look up and down. It can tilt a little bit. Can look side to side. That's all fine and dandy. His arms can go up. These are, soft rubber because they're attached to the soft rubber armor piece, so they'll get out of the way. You can rotate forward and back. Can't rotate full 360 because of these, but I don't really expect anyone to do that anyways. Single jointed elbow with rotation. I will say the elbows get a little bit more 90 here, so you don't always need a double joint to get decent range. Going back to the appropriate hinge for holding stuff, he does have that, which is nice. Evil Lyn didn't have that. Full shame. That said, his waist can rotate. And because of that rubber socket, they do get a little bit of lean back and forth, but nothing to write home about. Hips can kick out, back down. They can kick forward and back. Forgot to mention, they do have a little bit of a thigh swivel in there because of the way the legs are attached now. But again, nothing to write home about. And really, get your single jointed knee, you get your rotation in the knee anyways. It's the same thing. You do get a boot swivel, and then you do get a hinge in the foot with a rocker. So, very, very nice. Tri-Klops. Definitely one of my favorites. I mean, I like a lot of the bad guys, but Tri-Klops is just a little bit more relatable than Clawful or Merman or Webstore and Scareglow. Probably because I'm not a giant crab, a fish man, a spider guy or ghost, but that's besides the point. But very, very cool. And at first the sword was a little tricky to get in there, so maybe heat up the hand. You had a little trouble like I did. Don't just force it in there. You'll snap the knuckle guard like I did on my original 2000X Tri-Klops sword, which I still need to replace. But one of these days I'll get around to that. And getting the missile for my 2000X Stratos. But at any rate, I think it's now time that we move right along and take a look at some size comparisons. First up, here's good old Tri-Klops alongside a couple other evil warriors from this 2000X cartoon collection line we've already taken a look at here on the channel. We have both Skeletor, the Lord of Destruction, as well as the very inaccurate but still very nice Evil Lyn. So please check those reviews out if you haven't already. Really appreciate it if you did. And as I mentioned in their reviews, as well as this one, its origins. The scaling is fine. Chicks are a little smaller, dudes are a little bigger, dudes are usually the same size. It is what it is. But I like all three of these. Despite their shortcomings, I like all three of these. And I'm stoked to get more of these 2000X figures. I just hope the fine folks over at Mattel don't decide to put it on pause permanently, because anything they put on pause in the past usually doesn't come back. Street Sharks, I'm looking at you. Getting these two out of the way. So we can bring in our two regulars. Mythic Legions for the Mandibilith. Right there. And the infamous 11 Spawn, who, as usual, towers over everyone. So that being said, it's time now we wrap things up with some final thoughts. Overall, and aside from not coming with a Doom Seeker, I mean, I've got one from the original 2000X figure, but I know a lot of people were clamoring to get some of those with this guy. I have to say that good old Tri-Klops here is another fine addition to this Mike Young Productions / 2000X cartoon collection line. He looks like he popped right out of the show, which is ultimately the point of this whole thing, isn't it? And not for nothing, I don't know if it's because I bought him super late and he's a late production run and they fixed it, or maybe it's just not that big of a deal. But the visor on mine, while it does click into place, it's not very hard to move. So, yay me, I guess. So that being said, hope you guys enjoyed this review. And until next time, I'll catch you guys later.